of the go away. Excuse me. I'm getting messages on my screen. Okay. Excuse me. The regular meeting of the Port Angeles School Board of Directors will now come to order. It's Thursday, August 25th, 2022. I know we have a quorum present. I see Director Marks and Director Methner and myself. So that's going to have to be roll call for right now, and we'll get.
Ebert is in the room as well.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Welcome, Mary. We always begin our board meetings with the flag salute, so if you will join me in that, I would appreciate it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. I do not have the tribal lands where I can get to it. Do you?
I have it.
You have it. Would you mind reading that for us tonight? Thank you, Mary.
I would be happy to.
Thank you.
We acknowledge that we are the indigenous lands of Coast Salish peoples who have reserved territory rights to this land, specifically the Quallum tribes. We thank these caretakers of this land who have lived and continue to live here since time immemorial.
Thank you, Mary. And it just dawned on me, Jake is not going to be with us tonight. Director, who told me that? Did he tell us that in the meeting the other night? Anyway, he will not be here with us tonight. And so, yes.
Could Carmen please introduce the board meeting?
Yes, I would like for her to do that. And Carmen, when you do, will you remind us of the fact, two things, remind our audience of two things, that we only have 3 minutes for guests to speak, and that we are going to be going into executive session after the regular board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, President Long. Hello and good evening. My name is Carmen Geyer, and I would like to welcome you to the August 25th, 2022 Port Angeles School District Board of Directors board meeting via Zoom. Items to be mentioned before we begin is that this meeting is open to the public and is recorded. You can review all past board meetings by visiting board docs through our district website. If you have any comments that you would like to be shared with the board of directors, please email Jenny Wilson, the executive assistant to the superintendent, by emailing jwilson@portangelesschools.org. There will also be a portion of the meeting reserved for community comments. Agenda items will be addressed as listed in the agenda. If you wish to share community comments remotely, please use the Q&A button located at the bottom of the Zoom conference window. Submit a brief summary of your non-agenda item or the correlating agenda item number along with your name and wait to be called on. For those attending in person who wish to make community comments, please use the sign-up sheet located in the hallway. When it is your turn to speak, your name will be called. Please use the podium computer to make your comment. The podium mic will then be enabled. For all comments, before making comments, please state your name and address. Each person will have 3 minutes to speak, after which time your mic will be turned off. Accusations, foul language, other verbal abuse will not be tolerated. If you do so, you will be asked to refrain from using such language. If you continue to use inappropriate language, your mic will be turned off. If you have any concerns about individual district employees or specific complaints that require an administrative response, please contact the office of the superintendent directly. Thank you, and back to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Carmen. That brings us to 3.01, agenda approval. How does the board feel about the agenda? Any questions, comments? All right, may I hear a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
I,
Aye. Opposed, no. So the consent agenda has been moved and passed. And now distribution of correspondence. Jenny? Any correspondence?
There is no correspondence tonight, Dr. Long.
Okay, thank you. That brings us to awards, recognitions, and presentations. And our first presentation tonight is by Dr. Rachel Summers, who is going to speak on the extended school year report. Rachel, welcome.
Hi there. I have a sheet with some data on it from extended school year. Is it possible for the host to enable me to share my screen? And I can share that information about ESY with you. One moment. I'm going to pop over and touch base with Jenny on that.
Excuse me.
So I have some data about ESY that shows how many students participated in the types of services that were offered. And as soon as I am able to share my screen, I will share that with you. So just one moment, please.
Okay, thank you, Rachel.
Okay, Rachel, are you able to share your screen now?
There we go. I am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a summary of the data from our extended school year, ESY, for special education students. So this past summer, we had 14 students attending ESY, 7 in the elementary and 7 secondary kiddos. And that was a bit more than last year. And ESY is an IEP team decision. And so there's a lot of different reasons why kiddos qualify for ESY based on progress that they don't make on their goals on their IEP, or a concern from the IEP team about regression of progress over the summer months. And so it is possible that due to COVID or other various factors, that there were more kiddos this year where IEP teams wanted to make sure that they were going to continue the progress that they were making or make up for missed progress on their IEP goals. We had certificated teaching staff this year, which is more than we've had in the past. Pam did a really great job of recruiting both teachers for ESY and also classified paraprofessionals for ESY before she left. And so we had 5 parapros that helped us out. We also had an SLP that offered hours each week. We had a PT and an OT, a physical therapist and an occupational therapist, that offered hours to some of the kiddos at ESY. And again, all of those hours are based on the needs and the goals that are in the children's IEPs. The summer school was Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in July from 9 in the morning until 12:30. And we had the kiddos split into elementary and high school groups. And as I mentioned a moment ago, that we're talking about maintenance of skills or avoiding regression of skills so that we don't lose progress that kiddos are making on their IEPs. And we have IEP teams make decisions about ESY in the spring of each year. So what questions do you have? And if I don't have the answer right now, I go and find it for you and get it.
Rachel, I have a question. I did not hear how many employees we had. You said there were more than last year.
Yes, because we had more kiddos than last year. So we had 3 certificated teachers helping out with ESY. And then
Okay.
we had 5 classified staff. And so that is because there were more students in ESY and also based on the needs that are in the IEPs and the services that are in those IEPs, we have to staff according to the needs that are in those IEPs to make sure that we're providing the staffing that is required for those IEPs.
Okay, thank you. Board, any other comments or questions? We're always glad when we're able to take care of the needs of special ed kids in the summer. Katie Marks, did you have a question?
Oh, I did. I just wanted to know, do you do busing during the summer for these
Yes,
kids?
busing is offered for ESY, and we had a few parents who chose to bring their kids to school, but all of the students that attend ESY are offered transportation.
And is that a standard school schedule? The number of
It's
hours?
from, it is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so 3 days per week
Oh, there it is.
throughout the month of July, and it's 9 in the morning to 12:30.
Okay, I see it now.
Are you able to raise the sheets so I can see the additional information?
Yeah.
I was wanting to review that.
There we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I have a request that we attach that to the agenda?
Yes, I will ask Jenny if she can attach that to the agenda.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right. Well, thank you, Rachel. And we're glad to have you working with us in your new capacity.
And I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Good. And that brings us to 6.02, CVU Academy update. And Mace Gratz is going to talk to us about that tonight. Is Mace with us?
Yes, Dr. Long, I'm here.
Ah, there you are.
All right. It looks like I have a can of Coke, like I'm advertising here, so I'll get that out of the frame. All right. So, CVU Academy update. Let me go ahead and start with some numbers, just so you know what our current enrollment is, what some of the changes are from last year, and get a sense of where we're at. And then I just want to talk about some of the programs that are happening this year. So right now, our enrollment's at around 243, and it changes daily. So this is as of yesterday. This time, September last year, we were at about 353. And then in June, we were at around 421, just to put it into perspective. What we've seen is students are going back to the buildings. And so now we're, which is good news, because we're seeing, especially with the students in district who are leaving CVU Academy, they're going back to the district buildings. And I'm doing a tally of numbers right now. I have to work with all the, as my registrar, working with the other registrars in the district to get those exact numbers of how many students went back to their buildings. But what we did see in terms of our choice transfers that are leaving CVU Academy is they're going back to their brick and mortar schools. So we're climbing out of COVID and seeing this, but we still have a substantial enrollment, and I expect it to go up. And we're transitioning now into that more sustained numbers that aren't dependent on the pandemic, and looking at ways to demonstrate how good our program is to students around the state. One of the big things we saw last year was with our early literacy students, our K-3 especially, is that the families wanted to have programming that built a community for their students and that offered in-person opportunities. At the end of last year, we were able to put together a grant. It's called the Reimagine Education Grant, and we were awarded $175,000 to build a program that was designed by myself and some other CVU staff that is working with Olympic Nature Experience to offer 1 day a week outdoor school for those students, and that'll be every week throughout the school year, rain or shine. I guess lightning is when we're going to call it off, which doesn't happen too often. So the ORCA program is a combination of distance learning, outdoor school, and hands-on learning that's available to families on the North Olympic Peninsula. We'll be using the Buzz online curriculum, which is the platform that our younger students use at CVU. And then on every Wednesday, we'll have 2 sessions of outdoor school, and that's going to be held at Lincoln Park. And we'll have a K1 session in the morning and a 2-3, and we may change those. We may open it up to 4th graders too as we look at numbers. But it's an exciting program, and it's going to add a lot of value, I think, to our greater North Olympic Peninsula community. And then Thursday, we'll have skill enrichment and hands-on learning at the CVU Learning Center. So another part of that grant is outfitting the composites building into the CVU Learning Center. And right now, we're in that clean out phase, and then I expect we'll start getting our collaborative furniture here in about a month or so. And again, this is all part of the grant, and it's nice because it bleeds over. Well, that space will be used by CVU Academy and this program. So we're building something pretty neat here. That's about where we're at. In the ORCA program, we're looking at about 14 K3 CVU students, and here in the next week or 2, we're going to really see where our final numbers settle.
That sounds so exciting. I love it. And you're going to use the composites building to kind of make a CVU center over there.
That's right. Yes, we're using that composites lab, Dr. Long, and it's going to be an incredible space for our families, our students, and I feel really good that we have this big space that's going to be used for a good project.
Absolutely wonderful. That should draw a lot of folks. And the outdoor school, I know that lots and lots of families have been drawn to other programs that have outdoor school, particularly for little bitty ones. And they don't care if it rains or freezes. They're very good about wanting to be outside. So that'll be great. Board comments, questions?
Principal Gratz, are we running advertisements like we did last year on like King 5 and such? Are we trying to up our enrollment through that at all this time?
We are right now King 5's on the back burner, because when we looked at the number of students that were enrolling after those ad campaigns were run, it didn't seem to make sense at that juncture. I think we have to reevaluate, and this is the struggle, because we're a school district, and we're not and we're not I guess a for-profit business in that sense, where we're able to well, I guess we don't have experienced marketers, so that's what we created a marketing plan. It involves online marketing, and we're hitting Facebook, YouTube, Google, and there's some hurdles that we've hit that we're processing through in order to make sure that it's a robust campaign, and that's where we're headed with it. I think when we look at the demographic, I've actually become kind of a marketing professional with this. But when we look at the demographics that are enrolling their students in online schooling, we're looking at a plugged in group, if that makes sense, plugged in. So that's how we want to reach them.
All right.
I also think a lot of word of mouth, when people see and experience how good our teachers are and the connections that we are able to make and the support we can offer, that goes a long way too.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay,
That was my same question.
that was your question? Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you. That sounds really exciting. We'll be anxious to hear how things are going throughout the year. So I know you'll be giving us some reports, and we'll look forward to seeing you and hearing from you. And thank you for your hard work, Mace.
All right, thank you.
That brings us to 701, our July financial report. And I think our superintendent is going to get that. Is that correct?
Yes. Jenny, can you pull up the report for me, please? All right, so it's my pleasure to share with you this evening the July financial report. This is the 11th of a 12-month budget cycle for the Port Angeles School District. I'm sitting in for Kira Acker this evening, so I'll entertain any questions you have at the end. So here you see a summary of our budget versus actual expenses for the debt service, ASB, and transportation vehicle funds. Next page, Jenny. Will outline our general and capital fund. You can see that as we've disclosed to the board with regards to the apportionment, how it works with the state of Washington, and we have that low month allocation in May and June. The makeup months are July and August, and so you've seen our end of month budget, end of month balance go up, from the previous month, which was in the 3 million range. Excuse me, I'm fumbling with that. Next slide, please. On this slide, I do want to call out a couple of items here for you to see. So you can see under travel, under expenses here in the 8,000 series, we're starting to see more travel. Again, that's a sign of, I think, the COVID mitigation strategies and COVID, I've kind of outlined to the board, it feels like it's still around, but it's kind of in our rearview mirror. So we are starting to see and experience more travel for our employees to obtain professional learning. Next slide, please, Jenny. On this slide, you can see a significant increase in our MSOC costs for the month of July. That comes in the form of, we paid $345,000 in curriculum. Most of that is our ELA, new elementary curriculum. We spent $45,000 for college in the high school, the Eastern Washington University program at Port Angeles High School. $17,000 was the replacement of a roof at Dry Creek for a portable, and $13,000 of that was vape detectors for our campuses. Next slide, please. So here you see salary and benefits for the comparison, the 2021-22 school year. The trend remains somewhat the same throughout. We've seen anywhere from a 3.9 to a 4.2, actually $4.3 million salary and benefit expenditures on a monthly basis. Next slide. So here you can see that I'm going to call your attention to the bottom of the page, which is encumbrance, or excuse me, the total expenditures, which is set at 101.31%. We all know that we can't do that. Otherwise, we would require a budget extension. That is not necessary because that includes encumbrances that we know will not be allocated by the end of August. So we are good. We don't need to do a budget extension. That will be reflected in the August report, and that will be less than 100%. Okay. Next slide outlines the cash flow for our school district. You can see that we have a very similar pattern of revenue versus expenditures month by month. So it's becoming more and more predictable. And we are on pace to end the year with a fund balance in that range that we've been discussing throughout the year, anywhere from 4.9 to about $5.2 million, which puts us back at that fund balance level that we had pre-COVID, which was the objective of the board. Next slide. Here you can see our capital expenses, our capital projects fund. And you can see our cash in, cash out. You can see expenditures under program 10 sites, $5,200. That's a site workshop payment for the design at the Monroe Fields. I do also want to call your attention to the $31,911, which is actual month up in the top under 1,000 local tax. That's I'm gonna come back to that in just a minute, but please remember that number. Next slide, please. Oh,
That's
I'm
the
sorry.
last one.
Oh, thank you, Jenny. So I'm going to share my screen now. So the number that I ask you to remember, we got a notice from Clallam County. I'm going to share my screen. And Kira and I, we have not seen this before, but we were given notice on August 1st that the local board of equalization had made a decision that reduced some taxes, some tax liability to a private individual or a firm in the sum of that you can see there. And so that negative or that reduction of our local taxes that I just called out, that's paying back the county with regards to taxes that we were collected above what we should, and that went through the appeal process. And so some citizen or business won that appeal process and will be repaid those taxes. And so that comes at a portion throughout the city and the county of Port Angeles, and that's our share back to the county to reimburse this individual and or business. So I will entertain any questions you may have at this time.
Any questions, board?
No, it looks good.
Okay. Any comments before we move on? Thank you, Marty, for sharing that with us tonight. Now that takes us down to discussion and action items. 8.01, approval of contracting with KCDA. This has to do with the Monroe Fields.
A couple months back, Nolan and I came out and shared a concept with you, and I'd like to bring that back for discussion this evening. We have had this discussion with our PACAC team in July, but tonight I am asking the board to consider giving me the authority and Nolan the authority to work with Psych Workshop to divide our bid package into two bid packages. We would look at the groundwork or the civil work as one bid package and the installation of the synthetic field as a second bid package. I'll bring us back around. The real advantages of that would be that I think we'll get more bidders that will come out and potentially bid our project. you know, the synthetic field itself, there's very few firms that actually install that. And so that's going to be, you know, kind of a special circumstance. But the civil work and the groundwork of the Monroe fields, we believe we have lots of contractors in the community and on the Olympic Peninsula that may be interested in bidding that project that simply doesn't have the capacity to do the synthetic side of the work. So Nolan, I'll turn it over to you to add any other context to that discussion.
No, I think you hit it right on the head. It's going to open up more work for our community. We'll try to keep some of the work local, and we'll still get the project that we all wanted in the long run, and probably save a little bit of money for the district.
And it will cost a little bit to the district, you know, because we will have to pay site workshop to divide the one bid package into two. So that we have two bid packages, but so there will be a small cost for that, but I think it will pay for itself and then some with regards to the returns we get next spring with the bids.
Okay. Any questions? We need a motion, right?
I would just like to comment that I'm pleased that we can make it more likely that we can have some local bidders. So even though we were a bit discouraged by the timeline being changed, I certainly support this opportunity. I'd like to make a motion to move the proposal forward to split it in this way.
Do I hear a second?
Director Marks seconds.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion before we vote? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion passes then. So Marty, you and Nolan can start seeing how that's going to work for us. It sounds like a great idea.
Thank you very much.
Okay, 8.02 is a discussion of our draft, and I want to underline the word draft. Strategic plan. We've been, well, working on this for quite some time this year. This is one of our major goals for this year, and Ann has been here to help us, Ann and Marty and others on the administrative team. So Marty, you want to start this off?
Yeah, so thank you, Dr. Long, for referencing that this is a draft and very much incomplete. What I wanted to do this evening is make sure that the board can weigh in the very beginning stages of our drafting. And so there are a number of incomplete items there. It's not in its final state, but before we get too far down the path, I felt it was really important that we bring it back to the board and the board can give us some direction around where you'd like to see us dial up, you know, some concepts and where we would, you know, maybe need to focus some more of our time, and also where we may need to dial down a little bit with regards to your expectations of the strategic planning process. So I think before we do that, I would like to, because I think we might have some new guests this evening by way of our Zoom this evening. And can you just quickly outline the process that we've used to get to today?
Yes, no, thank you, Superintendent Brewer. So the first step in the process was to hold our inclusive community survey, which was open to all residents in Port Angeles. We had 1,118 people respond to that survey. Based on the information in the survey, we then created a series of focus groups there were 18 focus groups with 17 individual groups. There were 2 groups with elementary school teachers. We had 331 people participate in that focus group discussion, which is about 30% of the original survey number, which is exactly what our target would be statistically. And then based on that information from the focus groups, we gave the board the raw data from the focus groups, tabulated data from each focus group, and then a summary. And those were materials that the board reviewed at the last board, at the last board meeting in July. I think it was July 26th. And so the next step was then to bring building administrators and district office administrators together in a work session. And so what you see in front of you today are is work that was set. Each group was given a different one of the priorities that were spoken to by the board members. And so then people worked collaboratively to try to put together a draft for each of those priority areas for you.
Okay. I'm going to make an assumption that we've all the board members have looked at this. I have certainly read it, and I'm sure everyone else here is. So if we could start a discussion about what we've seen, and if we have any suggestions to give to Ann, I'd appreciate comments from the board, and I'll follow up. Mary, you want to go first? Mary's muted.
Thank you. I appreciate all the work that Ann has done to include a variety of community members so that we have a broad input into this process. In reviewing it, I have felt, I feel that it's been well done and we're at a positive stage. And my only desire at this point is for the board to have some kind of a work session so that we can meet together and further drill down on the individual items. So I'm pleased with where it is. I have nothing to add to that other than some work by the board as a team.
Thank you. Sarah? Any comments?
I like this. I'm trying, as I read through, I try to envision what it's going to look like as we want to hand it to people. This is our strategic plan. There's a lot. I mean, a lot on here, and it's all good stuff. It's not. Don't mishear that, but it's so much. I'm wondering how we're going to synthesize it eventually for the community at large. I mean, I know several strategic plans ago, we really wanted to make sure that we had a synthesized, just a little booklet, if you will, that we could just hand to people and know that we were following. And this is a lot of information, and it's possible we can synthesize this into sort of high points that we can use as a guide for folks. Well, why are you doing this? Well, it fits here at this for this particular thing. And the only other thing, I'm always worried, everybody is always worried about resources. And I don't know that there's any way around it. Because these are important things, they are going to require we put resources towards them. So as I read through, I can't see where we would, cut the resources. And I am really appreciative that a lot of these things are things we already have the resources for, and maybe it'd be more of a let's really laser focus those resources because they're there. And so I feel like we're doing a really good job for that. And the only other kind of odd, those are just my broad reading to this, but the only other one that I thought was interesting was under our increasing communication, why a barrier is text messaging, why that's considered a barrier. I don't remember what we talked about specifically about that. So that was kind of the only thing that sort of jumped out at me is what I didn't understand, because I know we had talked about, we have the system, and now I'm blanking on it. Jared told us about it. That's allowing staff and their students to text in a more careful way. I just I do think that we really need to look as much as we can to it, because I think a lot of our up and coming parents, particularly, are very wedded to the text message, and it seems to be the communication of choice. So I'm interested in where the barrier of that and how we can fix that. So I've talked on long enough. Sorry.
No, that's good. Sarah, I want to ask you a question. Are you thinking about, like in Marty's office, if you picture where we have the strategic, where he has the strategic plan hanging on his door that we have taken and given copies, it's not detailed like this. Is
Right.
that kind of what you're thinking about?
Think of something sort of in between. I don't know if everyone remembers there's a blue booklet, it's not even a booklet, it's like a one-page folded in half. And that was at least 2 strategic plans ago. But it was just a very easy sort of synthesis of what, not just those big broad points, because those are obviously very important too, but it was a little bit more detailed to that. I think I just would love to get my hands on one of those again. But and this is very possibly going to be synthesized into something 2-part. One, we have the big strategic plan, and one that we have something that's really easy to share with our parents and our teachers and why we're doing some things. I guess, does that answer your question, Sandy?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. Katie, your comments? Katie, can you hear me? Katie's not, there she is.
I got it.
Thank you.
My 2 screens caused me a little delay there. I apologize. Okay, so I agree with Mary. I would like a work session with the board so we can deep dive into this. Let's see, I'm also looking for the mission, vision, and beliefs or values, and I don't see those. I don't know if we were going to update those that we have currently or not. So that's kind of a question that I have. I also saw that the strategic plan is for 5 years, and I'm wondering if we could discuss whether or not that could be 3 years. 5 years is things get a little long and out of shape. So I'm wondering about the 5-year definition. I'm still looking for really clear statements, precise statements. The goals are a little hard for someone who doesn't know the acronyms to read and understand. So that's just some things that could work on. And then the action steps, what will be done, I think, I would like those to be really specific as well, and measurable. So I'm still looking for some more clarity in these categories. So let's see. I think it's been a lot of work, and I really appreciate all the efforts that have gone into this. Let's see, what else? I did want to see more language from our surveys and focus groups directly from people, in possibly interwoven into some of the statements and action steps. I thought that I'm just going to call out one, and that's the one about teaching and learning. And I thought that one of the things was that it dove right straight into professional development and collaboration, which I think is great. I also think that there should really be a line item that calls out, implementing our new curriculum, our ELA curriculum, and supporting our adopted math curriculums as part of our core. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I think that's all I would like to say. Oh, I was wondering if our 30-year facilities plan would be integrated into the, basically calling out the items that we're planning to focus on over the next 3 to 5 years, if that could be part of the facilities plan. Most of the facilities plan was, they had spent a lot of time and work and great effort looking at the communication, which of course is very necessary, but I was kind of wondering if maybe that could be popped in there. So
Can I just pop in real quick and say, Katie, that is an amazing idea. I think we may end up with some appendices. A couple of things you said, that adding that as an appendix and adding, and I know WASDA does this as a actual appendix of definitions of what is solution tree and what is STEAM and SEL. If we could just have that, so if people are like, seriously, if you're not in education, that particular part on powerful teaching and learning has a lot of acronyms. So if we had this is what that means, that I think would be really helpful.
Right. I'd really like for some of the higher level pieces to be without acronyms and just readable by anyone. So that's really, those clear statements that I'm looking for need to be for anyone to understand. So no acronyms, right? I don't know what MTSS, I believe that's the new professional development program that we're embarking on, but I don't actually know what it means yet. So it's really hard for me to understand that piece. So, okay, that's enough for tonight.
That's good. I've written all that down, Katie, and I agree with you and with Mary that we need to be around a table together with our sleeves rolled up to really dig into this and do addition and subtraction. One of the things that I was concerned about, my copy did not get anything about the SEL action plan. I got 2 facilities, but no SEL. So I've got to pick that up somewhere. And also, when the plan was put together, I do understand that there have been these action teams or whoever down here at the bottom, anyway, that they have been helping with this, and I do want to point that out and call that out and tell them that we appreciate their help. The other thing I want to be real clear on is on the front of our draft, it talks about the 4 areas that we had come up with out of all the interviews and all of the results from all the communications about this. Are we set on those 4? Is that, Ann, can you help me there? Communication and relationships, facilities, SEL, action plan, and teaching and learning. Are those going to be our big topics?
So I'll answer that. When we brought this to the board in, I believe, July, and asked for, after you had reviewed all the data and asked for 3 to 5, items or 3 to 5 learnings that you had through, scouring through the information, we took that information and summarized that down into what I'm going to reference as the big 4.
Okay.
And that's, that's board discretion, based on that conversation that we had in July. And, that's an important item to discuss now and in the future. Do those 4 represent what you want to see in your strategic plan?
Okay.
And if not, then we need to have continued dialogue and conversation around what needs to be dialed back, what needs to be dialed up.
Okay. And then they look very good to me, and I thought that I recognized where those came from. The other thing that I wanted to comment on, and I really liked a lot, was on each page, it states the PASD, equity policy, and equity work are embedded in all aspects and level of the strategic planning work. And I like that, because they should be. And I want that to be really pointed out, particularly in anything that we hand out about our new strategic plan when the time comes. So thank you, Ann, for that, or thank you, Marty, or whoever wrote that in. I really like it. So do we need, board, to talk about when we might sit down and use this as a format for some work to do and nothing else, just the strategic plan? Does anybody have comment about when you might? our calendar, as it stands right now, gives us a workshop, I think, in October.
Yep.
And also, is that the day that we do our yearly CSEP thing? That's not the same thing, is it?
That has been.
Because I don't think we can do that and this in one meeting. I really don't. And I would like to have a time where we just focus on the strategic plan.
Okay.
So what do you all think about that? Do you have any ideas about time limits, whether you'd rather do it in September? We were hoping this would be finished in September, but there are a lot of things, as you know, going on right now. And so I just don't think we're going to be able to do that. But would you like, the board, would you all like to meet prior to the September 22nd board meeting? That's our only board meeting in September. I think it's the 22nd. Am I right, Marty? Is it the 22nd?
Yeah, I'll check that. It sounds right. But let me check real quick.
It's toward the end of the month anyway. Would you all like to meet before then at a special, maybe at an evening? I don't know, Katie, you know, you are, you have work to do every day, and I know that's difficult. Would you rather do it on an evening or on an after, a Saturday, maybe morning?
An evening's fine.
Evening's fine for you? Do you want me to just ask Jenny to contact everybody with some suggestions? And
Yeah, that's good.
okay, Sarah, how does that sound to you? You okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Weekends are not going to be good for me going forward. So
Okay, all right. And Mary, how would you do on an evening just for this? Say from 6 to 9?
That would be great.
Okay. Well, Jenny and Marty, would you all try to get us together before the 22nd?
Yeah, we'll do our best.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Do we have any other? Ann, I want to call out thanks to you again. You have really done some hard work, and we could never, or I could never have put all this together. So thank you so much for everything you've done, and you're in your capable hands. I feel like we're going to come up with something really good.
Can I add one more final piece, Dr. Long?
Yes, you can.
So our vision is, to have, I think I heard the conversation around a detailed strategic plan, then a one-pager, and then, something else. We do plan on having this strategic plan on our website and called out with measurables that we can auto-populate, those measurables as we progress through time. So it will be very transparent. This is the vision that we have. Be very transparent to our community around this is what our goals are, and this is progress or lack thereof that we're making on our goals. That I want to loop all the way back around. These are not the board's goals. These are not my goals. These are goals from our community through the survey and also the focus groups. So, that's the vision for the final product, to have a one-pager, to have the details, that is in the schools doing the work, but then also have an accountability piece on our webpage that will track progress or lack thereof.
Okay.
That sounds very good. Yes.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much. Any other comments, questions? So be expecting a call from Jenny, board members, or a text or email from her. Okay, and that brings us down to community comments, 9.01.
Dr. Long, we have one item, 8.03.
I'm sorry, I don't have that on my agenda.
Approval of policy 1400.
Can you pull it up, Jenny?
No, this is my agenda from our agenda meeting, so no, I'm so sorry. Forgive me for not
this evening, 8.03 is approval of policy 1400. As we took action in June to move our board meetings to 6 o'clock or 6 o'clock start time. If you review policy 1400, it does call out 7 p.m. So I am bringing that back to the board tonight under regular meeting. You can see the first paragraph there. It says regular meetings are held at 6 p.m. the second and fourth Thursdays of each month. The existing policy references 7. So I want to make sure that your action in June for our schedule in the 22-23 school year matches policy. So I did bring that to you this evening for your consideration.
Okay, do we need a motion to change that to 7 o'clock? I mean, to 6 o'clock?
To accept the first reading of this policy, you would.
Okay, may I hear a motion?
I will move that we accept policy, the first reading of policy
1400.
1400.
Do I hear a second?
I second it.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. The motion passes. Thank you, Marty. I'm sorry it was not on my agenda. Okay, now, anything else before I move to community comments? Okay, Carmen, are you there?
Yes, President Long.
Do we have community comments?
Yes, we do.
Okay, are you going to talk about those?
Yes, if I would like to suggest that we start with remote panelists, and then once we get through them, then we will do remote community comments, and then we can move to those that are in the boardroom. Is that okay?
That's fine. Could you give me some idea as to how many people would like to speak tonight?
Yes, thank you. So as far as I know, I have been informed of 4 remote participants.
Okay.
And Jared is going to check on the community comments that have been signed up for in person.
Okay.
Get back to me on that.
Okay. I mean, I just want you, me, to make it clear that everybody has 3 minutes. At a point in time that we reach 15 minutes, I think I'm correct on this, then the board would have to make a motion to move to extend for another 15 minutes. Is that correct? I want to be sure I'm following policy.
That is correct.
And you're going to watch the time for us, Carmen?
Yes, so after 5 participants, then that'll be 15 minutes if all.
Okay. All right. So, are we ready then?
Yes, so I would like to start in the order that we received inquiries. So first up, I have John Henry. So John, I am going to find you in our list here. I'm going to allow you to talk. And once you begin, please state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay, I do want to point out really quickly that the chat has been disabled, so I know there are some others that want to sign up, but we're not able to.
Thank you. So you would need to use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen, where you can submit a brief summary of the comment.
Okay. So good evening, board members. I'm John Henry. I live at 1315 South Beach Street in Port Angeles. I'm the PAEA president, Port Angeles Education Association, speaking on behalf of our WEA members. As a board, you consider and prioritize many things. You consider facilities needs, you approve curriculums, set school schedules, explore balanced calendars, and oversee budgets. Those things are all very important. But what I want to talk to you tonight about is what is most important in the lives of our students. It's the people of this organization that make a difference in the lives of our students. The bus drivers who greet the students in the morning and make sure they're safely transported to and from school. The paraeducators who welcome them into the building and support their learning in so many ways. The teachers who spent countless hours making sure their individual needs are met so they can learn and grow. The specialists who make sure they have extra support to learn how to read, to correctly pronounce words, to achieve full mobility. The building principal who gives them a high five when they have achieved a challenging goal. The school nurse who makes sure they take their medicine and checks in to see into their health. The secretary who makes sure their parents are informed, checks in when they have been absent, and sometimes even helps them find that lost pair of gloves they left on the playground. And the school psychologist who makes sure everyone understands how to help them reach their potential. The various teachers who help them explore all the wonders in life, math, science, literature, art, music, PE, career paths, language, so many other things. The counselors who check in when they're struggling and make sure they have access to everything they need to be successful in life after school. Custodians and maintenance personnel who make sure the buildings are clean and safe. The administrators who make the tough decisions to allocate resources where they are needed most. It is the people who make this organization. When I look at the district website, I see 36 open positions. Some of those positions have been open for a long time and yet go unfilled, in particular paraeducator positions. I talk to a lot of people that say people don't want to work. I disagree. If you were at the Lincoln Center tonight and you looked out the window of the boardroom, you would see a lot of people who want to work. It isn't that people don't want to work. They just want to work for an organization that puts their people first. The Port Angeles Education Association bargaining team spent over a year reaching out to our members to understand their needs. In February, we presented those needs to the district and gave them an opportunity to put their people first and help us find ways to address those needs. They have spent most of this time, the district team has spent most of this time declining to bargain most of our proposals. The Port Angeles School District was given an opportunity to put their people first when the state funded a 5.5% cost of living adjustment for our employee groups. The district declined to pass through the full COLA to all of our groups. Other districts in our region found a way to put their people first by offering fair contracts quickly. They offered full COLA and in many cases, COLA plus additional increases. They offered more planning time for their people. They offer better class size language for their people. They offer better language for people who provide special education services. Other districts in our regions put their people first and found a way to do it before August. What we are asking you today is, are you willing to put your people first and provide fair contracts that are competitive with the other districts in our region?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Henry.
Okay, next up we have Rebecca Winters. I'm going to find you in the attendees.
Rebecca Winters?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Rebecca, I see I have pulled you over. If you would like to unmute.
Carmen, she's in person.
Okay.
She's here in the room, so we'll
Okay, I will
do it
move
here.
her down to in person. There was not a sign in. So I will go ahead and move her down. Apologies about that, Rebecca. One moment. Okay, and so we will move on to Val Spencer.
We'll do the, oh, excuse me. We'll get to.
Okay, and it looks like Val Spencer is no longer with us. I have Nancy McCaleb. Nancy, I'm going to find you in the chat. I'm going to enable your microphone. Find her, one moment. Okay, I am not seeing Nancy online any further. Okay, it looks like that Nancy is now listed as Eric. So I'm going to find Eric in the chat. Okay. Is this Nancy?
Yes, it is.
Whoa.
I'm Nancy McCaleb. I live at 224 Glacier Lane. I have been working for this district for 35 years. This is my 42nd year of teaching. And I have never felt so disrespected as I have the last several years in Port Angeles. During COVID, we were not let know things at any time very quickly. We were told what to do. That was a very difficult time. And now you're being asked not to pass along our COLA. And once again, we're being disrespected. This is like the fourth time I've had to do this. I don't understand why this district doesn't step up like every other district around here and pay our teachers what they deserve so that they will stay here, because you are not going to gain teachers and keep great teachers if this continues.
Okay, thank you, Nancy.
Okay. Next up, so those are the only attendees that I have as wanting to make a comment remotely. I am going to just make one final pass through, make sure I didn't miss anyone. Please raise your hand or submit your name in the Q&A. Okay, let's move to in-person. Mr. Jared Blosser, if you could please enable the camera for the podium. Thank you. Okay, I see Rebecca Winters. If you'd like to start, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. So good evening and good evening, school board. I'm Rebecca Winters. I am the president now of the Paraeducator Association. I live at 1444 Township Line Road. I stand here again today, 4 years later, asking that the district honor the intention of the COLA funds. I thought about what I could say that would be impactful for you to all hear at this point, and I've typed and retyped this so many times that I realized what I really want to express to all of you on behalf of this association is that what we're asking for by way of receiving the full 5.5% COLA in addition to our current contract of 1% this year is that the hardships that the district is putting on our shoulders as employees is not our burden to bear. We aren't being greedy or angry and asking for this COLA. We just want to stop struggling every day to make ends meet, to maybe be recognized and paid worthy of our training, experience, job duties, so that we don't have to always be part of that 62% poverty statistics that are in Port Angeles and have second jobs just to make ends meet, to do what we love and help teach students. The fact that they're now overstaffing to cover positions others are unwilling to take is not our fault. We completely understand that the state only allocates funds for a certain number of employees here in Port Angeles. And if they agree to our terms, that does include the additional employees that are not covered by those state funds. However, those are the costs that I'm speaking about this evening and why our obscene amount of open positions are not getting filled. What I hope you hear, learn, and understand is that in the past 2 years, the needs of a paraeducator within the school has increased and changed significantly. For starters, paras have been taken from their original jobs and transferred to teaching jobs to help out the district. Or they are sent to special education rooms to work with those kids who have to have a para because the district would be out of compliance if they didn't. That's not the job they were hired for, and it's become very convenient for the districts not pay the salary of a certificated, but to those to use long-term sub-paras to complete the school year or take on the duties of that teacher until the position is filled. We have been pulled from our original jobs that we applied for and have been thrown into situations we're not comfortable in, familiar with, or trained for, just so the district's not out of compliance with special education needs. We have sacrificed what we know and what we applied for the good of the students, teachers, and team. Did you know last year that a hired position was approved for a virtual support staff member that didn't even live in this state? The job was originally for a paraeducator to support a special needs student online. And this new hire was specifically chosen by the parent to work with their student. When I learned of this, I did my research and found out that under the guidelines through OSPI that what the district was attempting to do was not legal for a paraeducator to do without the.
Has her time run out?
Yes.
Did we tell her that?
Sorry, their microphone was muted.
Okay.
Thank you, Rebecca. That was your 3 minutes. Okay, next up I have Campbell Kirkman. Is Campbell Kirkman still in attendance in the boardroom?
I don't think it was 3 minutes.
My name is Campbell Kirkman, 159 Burt Road, Port Angeles. I am a teacher in the district, and I am trying to understand why we still don't have a contract agreement. I know that the 5.5% COLA is a big sticking point, and it's really hard to understand why the district is not putting that through for us. And so I have questions. One of them is, do they think we're overpaid? When the state allocates funding for the specific purpose of increasing salaries and the district administration decides that they don't need to use those monies as the state intended, then one conclusion I take is that they think we're already adequately compensated. Do they think that inflation is not impacting teachers, paraeducators, and office professionals? The cost of everything's gone up, and that's the whole point of the COLA. The COLA, when they said it, was, we thought 5.5% was good, but inflation has been a lot more than that. Do they think that it's fair that the administration team receives a raise, but the non-administrative staff do not? District administrators like to use the term equity a lot, but this does not seem equitable. Do they think that the district bargaining team has been open-minded and willing to address the concerns we have brought to the table? To be an equitable organization, issues such as planning time, class size, caseloads, and compensation for required work beyond the contracted day should be carefully discussed and thoughtfully deliberated, but this has not been the case. Do they think that this district is going to be able to hire and attract the best candidates for current and future job openings? We've already lost the opportunity to hire quality candidates because they can earn more in our neighboring districts. And anyone who sees how the administration in this district is treating their employees right now in this bargaining process, I don't know why they want to come here. We just received a letter last week from Superintendent Brewer to welcome us back to the new school year. And in it, he states, as a team, let us focus on restoring and rebuilding relationships with students, families, and each other. And in our current circumstances, I don't see how relationships are going to be restored or rebuilt under this current leadership.
Thank you, Campbell.
Next up, I see Adam Purcell.
If you want to, yeah, the mic will help these guys here.
Good evening. My name is Adam Purcell. I live at 123.
And you begin.
Oh, but I'm so sorry. I had to turn on. Good evening. My name is Adam Purcell. I live at 1235 West 9th Street. Is that coming over?
We can hear you, Adam.
Oh, thank you so much. My name is Adam Purcell. I live at 1235 West 9th. And I am the current co-president of the Port Angeles Education Office Professionals, PAEOP. We are your secretaries. We are the faces of your buildings. We are, as you heard, the kindly folks who often help kids with attendance, with finding lost things, and with many other items as well. This is my first job in education. I am new since January, and I cannot describe the level of respect that I have for my coworkers. The secretarial staff at the high school and everywhere in the district is simply an above and beyond team. And I am here to ask that the districts treat us as an above and beyond team. We are desperate for workplace relief. Our numbers have been dwindling over the last few years. The high school has recently found a secretary. And given where salary levels currently are, I don't know how long it's going to take to fill that position. It is simply too difficult to manage with the amount of staffing that we have, much less imagining attrition, and yet we are asked to simply make do with what it is that the district wants to give us. We need to attract and retain the highest level of talent. The talent level that we have is at the highest level, but we simply need more of us. And with the salary that the district is prepared to offer in negotiations, I can't imagine how we're going to attract the staff that we need. Cost of living adjustment is just that. It is an adjustment to the cost of living. And I don't understand how the district believes that it is respectful to staff to not offer, at the very least, a salary increase that would keep up with the cost of living. So I am asking for the district to share in my level of respect for our secretaries, for our educators, for our paraprofessionals, for all staff in the district and to provide us the workplace relief and the salary relief that we desperately need.
Thank you, Adam. Okay.
And Madam President, I do not have any other participants.
Signed up. Did you sign up? Hold on, just a minute. Are you last, Brandon? Is there anybody else? Okay, hold on just a minute. Let me get. So we have, excuse me. We have one more. One more, Carmen. We have one more. It was crashed. Can you communicate that? Yep. Brandon, go ahead and step up. Right here.
Good evening. Good evening, board. Thank you. My name is Brandon Howard. I live at 1360 Finn Hall Road. I just want to say, this morning I was together with a couple hundred, probably not a couple hundred, but very excited elementary teachers to get back to work. There's only one thing they're not excited about. We're not excited about once again being at the final stretch and we do not have a contract. It seems like I've been here, a couple times in the last 4 years talking about the same thing. And I understand that it's difficult and there's difficult decisions happening in this district, but they need to be made. They need to be made quick. Right now, I know that people are getting moved around because we cannot find qualified staff. That's a problem. How do we address that? Well, one thing we can do is we can take care of salary. We can do all that stuff, but we need to support our teachers, especially our special education teachers. These people get beat up every day. They do a job that most people would not want to do because it's very, very hard. And they deserve the respect from the district. They deserve support. And I don't just mean financial. Financial is one thing, but we need to support our people with their time. They need time to get their jobs done. Right now, we have people who are writing IEPs for dozens of kids. And they don't have the time to do it. So we need to do better on that. We need to support our people. I mean, we just do. We just do. Collaboration is so important in this community. We cannot function as a district when we are fighting, when we have tension, when there's contention between a bargaining unit and a district office. We can't have it. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to people that I talked to today that have been waiting and waiting and waiting to hear something. And we don't have any news. And it's Thursday and school starts next week. It's Thursday, right? It's Thursday. We start school in a week. And we don't want to be there anymore. We don't want to do this anymore. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brandon. Okay.
Is that it, Eric? Okay, thank you. Yeah, that appears to be it. Thank you.
Okay.
For the in-person comments, I think that's all individuals that wanted to make a statement.
Okay. I don't want to move on until we're sure. So we're sure.
I'm sure in this space, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate those who came to comment tonight. We always take their comments very seriously. That takes us to board comments. Who would like to begin? Do I have any volunteers? Sarah, I'm going to call on you. Would you like to begin?
No, I appreciate folks coming out and and talking to us and letting us know where they're feeling and the information they're being given and have been given from everyone. And I appreciate hearing from you. For me, I have done sort of just voluntary things. Was at the Jefferson event, which was amazing. The amount of staff and community out there. Just felt, I was saying how my bucket was pretty low last week, and that sort of filled it up a little bit. And then I went to Stevens, day before yesterday, helped out. Okay, I was technically supposed to be volunteering in the photography section, but I pretty much just stood there and talked to people. And I was really impressed. I had a conversation with Principal Lunt there, and she had been worried that maybe parents there weren't going to be very many people come out. And she was just, it was standing room only, which she was thrilled with, I was thrilled with. So that helped fill my bucket a little bit more. So I appreciate the opportunity to get out there and get in our schools. And we are going to continue this work.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Mary? Mary, you're muted.
Thank you. I've been out of town for the last couple of weeks, so haven't been in any buildings, but I certainly am aware of the excitement of teachers getting ready, new curriculum, and getting their classrooms prepared. And that is certainly appreciated by everyone. And my granddaughter at the high school, I got to experience that process, and everything was going smoothly. And I really appreciate all of the efforts that the high school makes in getting that area prepared for kids and registration completed. I did attend the Athletic Hall of Fame in our community, and we were recognizing past Port Angeles students who have left outstanding results in all areas of our sports and our community, and they were certainly appreciative of this community and all the efforts and volunteering that happens here. And just to hear that was a very happy evening, and funds were raised for our local athletes in the schools, and all of the donations greatly appreciated. And congratulations to those Hall of Fame students who were recognized last weekend.
Thank you, Mary. I'm glad you got to go to that. I like to hear about what they are doing and who they are, and the fact that they are able to come back and tell us all about their accomplishments is great. Katie Marks.
Hi, I'm super happy that people spoke tonight. I'd like to hear directly from you, so thank you very much. It takes a lot to get up and actually speak in front of the board, so thank you again. I attended the back to school fair on last Saturday. I brought my son out there. We had a great time volunteering at Jefferson Elementary School, and then we spent a half day there. I attended the Stevens Middle School registration. I thought it was excellent, very well organized and fully staffed, and lots of students excited to get ready for school. So that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Katie. I also was at Jefferson, which was the greatest fun. I always love seeing the children and meeting a lot of parents. I get to see children, but I don't get to see their parents very often. So that's always a good way to start the school year. We've been having some planning meetings. The board is getting ready. We've just completed the budget for next year. We're getting ready for to complete our strategic plan in the fall, and looking forward to a really good start of school. I've seen so many kids in Walmart and in the grocery store buying their things and having their little backpacks. It's just wonderful. They're so excited about school starting, and so am I. So I'm looking forward to seeing all the staff on Monday morning at some early time, I believe 7:30. So Sarah and I will try to, we're not good at getting up early, but Katie is, and I think Jake is better, and Mary too. But anyway, we'll be there to greet all the staff on Monday morning at 7:30, and I think that's all for me. This leads us to the superintendent's report.
Yeah, thank you very much, President Long. So I too am appreciative of the individuals that come out and speak tonight. Their voice is very important, and I appreciate that voice. So we have, I participated last week with several of the board members at the back to school event. That was a lot of fun. I think the final number was 850 students served, which is phenomenal. The community support and love for our students in our community was tremendous. I've only been here now, this is the start of my 5th year, and to see how that program has grown over my four years now going into my 5th is amazing. The number of families served, but also the community organizations stepping up to help. So thank you to each of those community organizations. Thank you to the board that came out. Thank you to the families, the staff. It was a phenomenal event. And most importantly, thank you, Carmen Geyer. Carmen coordinated and did a lot of that work behind the scenes, working with Lutheran Community Services, and made it happen. So thank you to all involved. The next item is, as the weeks progress, this week, today, in fact, staff returned. Today was the first mandatory day for many of our school staff. The energy was good. And folks were excited to be back. It was great to see. And I do want to also remind the board, and I think it's already been mentioned, that on Monday, August 29th at the Port Angeles High School Auditorium, we will have our Welcome Back to School event. That does start at 7:30. And we will have a number of sessions at Port Angeles High School, and we'll also have a keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker this year is Mona Johnson. She's going to speak to our staff and all of us around self-care is not enough, and really working on helping us to understand the social emotional health of adults. And so we have spent a lot of time, money and energy in helping our students, but we also have to pay attention to one another. And so some of the goals of her keynote will be start to rekindle an organizational sense of belonging for everyone at school. Number 2, strengthen social emotional competency for adult professionals. Number 3, promote an active understanding of practice of workplace self-regulation strategies. And finally, invest in workplace well-being and resources. So I think it's going to be a phenomenal day with a great speaker to help us all to move. And I've said this to a few of you that are closest to me. COVID's still around, but it feels like it's more in our rear view mirror. It hasn't been the work. It's been something we pay attention and practice safe mitigation strategies, but we're getting back to the work. We're really like the feeling, with each of our groups as they come back, we're really focused on what we were hired to do as educators, and that's really meet the needs, the educational needs and the social emotional needs of our students. So energy is high. We're excited, and I'm excited for another great year with Port Angeles School System.
Okay, thank you, Superintendent Brewer. Now we're at 12.01, excuse me, 11.01. We need to talk about our next meeting, the time and location for that.
Next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, September 22nd, 2022. It will be right here in room 208 at the Lincoln Center. The meeting time is scheduled for 6 p.m. On that day, agenda items will include collaborative days report. We'll have, hopefully by then, we'll have the oath of student representative office representative. So, we'll need to interview those candidates early part of September. We'll have the WASDA Legislative Assembly proposals, as well as we'll have the summer school report to the board.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, we are going to go to 12.01. The board is going to move into executive session after this regular meeting, and we are doing this to discuss with legal counsel matters relating to an agent's, no, I'm sorry, wrong one. We're going to discuss with legal counsel litigation or potential litigation, and to consider the position to be taken in collective bargaining. We should be in about an hour. No action will be taken. So board members, we're going to leave Zoom now, and we're going to move to our Google meeting. So I will see you there.
Hey, Sandy. No, I can't hear you. Are you on the Zoom? Okay. Oh, I just saw that you're joined. Okay, hold on. Let me make you a. There you are. Look, panelist. Okay, there you are.
Okay. Now, did you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I can close out now?
Yes,
Jenny, thank you so much for this. I appreciate you.
sure. All right, good night.
Okay, good night. Bye-bye.